Hello dear students, welcome to the class of Health and Physical Education, Unit 8, Fundamentals of Anatomy, Physiology and Kinesiology in Sports. And today's topic which we are going to learn, that is center of gravity and its application. So here we are going to learn related to the center of gravity, what does the center of gravity means and how it is been applied in the sports. So you can see here the center of the gravity. As you used to see the first picture, standing straight on both the legs together, you can see the point. In second picture, vrikshasana, okay, and the center of the gravity is a little bit, because he or she is standing on the one of the leg, so center of gravity is little bit at the side. And when the third picture shows related to trikonasana, where you may find out the center of gravity, you can see. So center of gravity is an imaginary point. This what we are seeing, that is not the actual fact, but it is an imaginary point that which we used to think that it should be like this, within or outside the body or object, around which the body and the object is balanced, and through that we can balance ourselves. So we used to imagine it's only an imaginary point which is can be inside or within or outside of a body or an object, which is around which the body or an object used to balance. Clear? As we used to walk, we need to maintain the center of the gravity. For example, if we are walking and you have seen the people, those who have drunk, because they are not having a balance, and you may find out they will not be able to maintain their center of gravity also. They may fall on both the side, anywhere, either front or back, because their mind is not in their control. They don't know, they don't have the idea that how I should deal, or how I should work, how I should stand. Clear? So because of that, it creates a problem for them. Even though those who are performing the yogic activities, for example, they are performing the headstand, they are performing the handstand, those who are performing this vrishikasana, then those who are also performing kukutasana, in that they need to or mayurasana, they need to balance the center of the gravity, must be there. They must be able to maintain, and if you are able to balance well, that means that you know, you are having an idea of your center of gravity, where it lies. Clear? So here, this is with the help of the picture, you can see this is an imaginary point. Now what is the center of gravity? Center of gravity is an imaginary point around which the body or an object is balanced. So it is an imaginary point around which the body any of the object used to get balanced. This point plays an important role in all situations of balances. Each person or a thing has center of gravity which keeps on changing according to their movement. As we have seen in the picture, the first picture, the center of gravity when the person is standing, at that time the center of the gravity is at the center. When the person is leaning downwards or on one side, the center of gravity moves from that place. Clear? So each person or a thing has a center of gravity which keeps on changing according to their movement. As the person used to move, the center of gravity also moves. In man's body, the center of the weight is known as a center of gravity. Center of weight, that means that where you are going to put the center weight so that you can balance your body. It can be within or outside the body. A person moves on, it keeps on changing. It also depends on a person's shape. When a person stands straight, keeping both the hands side by side, the center of gravity is located at the level of the buttocks. Where you may find out, when the person is standing hands at the side, the center of gravity is being located at the level of the buttocks. The knowledge of the center of the gravity for a player is must, because any of an athlete or any of an individual or a player, they must be having the knowledge of center of gravity. For example, in basketball, during a jump, a player swings both the arm forward, upward to assist and in a gaining height. What happens that you have seen that either to hold the ball or to take a shot, what does the player used to do? The player used to swing both the arms forward and upward to help or to assist in gaining the height. and so that they can receive the ball or they can basket the ball. When a player is in the air, he allows one arm to drop to his side and tries to get maximum reach with the other arm. With the one arm, he used to drop one of the arm and to his side and tries to get the maximum reach with the one arm. So you can see that more and more he or she is able to stretch. So in the sports, the player's center of the gravity plays an important role in playing capacity. So the player should pay attention toward their center of gravity and balance. So player must focus where on the center of gravity and balance of their body. While playing, a player should follow the below mentioned thing. The edge of the baseline of the center of gravity is proportionate to the movement or in one direction. The edge of the baseline of the center of gravity is proportionate. It is according to the movement in one direction. If they are moving, for example, if any of an athlete is running, so the running is in only one direction. You are not going to again come back, or you are not going to move on right side or left side all of a sudden. So the edge of the baseline of the center of gravity is proportionate and it is going to work the same with the same rhythm. Balance is indirectly proportionate to the height of the center of the gravity from the base. The higher the object, the lesser the balance. Higher the object, or you as yesterday we were discussing, and at that time I have told that you may find out the center of gravity in is lower in females, so that's why the balance is more in females as compared to the males. And the person, those who are having the good height, the more the height of the center of gravity, the more higher the center of gravity, less will be the balance. Clear? And lower the center of the gravity and the more will be the balance or stability. So then third point tells us, to maintain the balance, the center of gravity should be kept under the baseline. Maintain the balance, the center of the gravity must be kept on the baseline. The baseline means the lower, that is either a floor or a ground or whatever it may be. So to maintain the balance, the center of gravity should be kept under this baseline only. The balance is proportionate to the weight of the body, or the balance will be greater as the weight is heavier. So the balance is, what is the balance is proportionate? Yesterday we were learning in the principle, the person, those who are having more weight, they will be having more balance, they will be having more control, and they will be having more stability. So balance is proportionate to the weight of the body, or the balance will be greater as the weight is heavier. More the weight, more the balance will be, or stability will be. Clear? Now, use of center of gravity in sports. Now in that, first is given as a defense position in basketball and volleyball. The defense position, you know that the player, they used to, what does the player used to do? The player used to open both the legs wide, and then afterwards they used to a little bit bend from the knees. To get the high defense position in the volleyball and basketball, the players spread their legs to the lower the center of gravity towards the base. And what happens, as they used to bend from their knees and they will move a little bit towards their body, they are going to have a pressure little bit towards the ground. So what happens, the center of the gravity is being lowered down, and more the center of the gravity is being lowered, the more balance or more stability you may find out. Even though the person, you have seen in the judo, karate, and that also, when they used to take a stance, they used to bend from the knees. Clear? So that they used to lower the center of gravity, and they will be having more stability and more control, and nobody will be able to move him or her. Then next we are having sprints. So what happens that in the sprint, the starts in the sprint in an athletics is another example of the use of center of gravity. We have to take an instant start in the sprint. All of a sudden we used to take a start. So we take our weight on our hand in set position. When it has been given on your mark, set. When it has been given, the order has been given for the set. You have seen the player used to put the weight on their hands in the set position, and their body used to move little bit further, and the head position will be forward. So we can start immediately while balancing our weight. Initially what happens, the center of the gravity of the body falls on the edge of the baseline of the hands, and if the center of the gravity falls behind the base, behind this line, then it may be that it may take time to start, because it requires the greater force to go ahead. And if we are not able to maintain a good center of gravity or line of gravity, it is baseline, it is not being matched along with the baseline, then the chances that we will be having a late start or we will be not having a perfect start. So it must be maintained. So let's see in the picture. See in the basketball, as we are given the example of the basketball, the player, they used to take the open, both the legs wide open, bending from the knees, so that he has lowered the center of the gravity and he will be having a good balance. Same way, the player in the athlete, she used to given, this is the on your mark position, she is in the, when the set position is been given, the back portion, the body used to move forward, a little bit forward, and the body weight will be on the, on his or on her hand, and then afterwards it used to maintain the center of the gravity, and she is going to start better. Then next we are having in the wrestling. So wrestling also the same way. If the wrestler falls on the mat and his arms spread on his both the knees, arms are being spread on both the knees and the legs are on the mat, then at this stage he gets a proper balanced position. So you can see that arms are being spread and his both the knees and the legs are on the knees and legs are on the mat. At that time, in this stage, he gets a proper balance. In this position, it is quite tough for the opposite player to remove him. So he is being able to. That means that yesterday we were learning, the more the base or the more the body is to the ground, that the more will be the stability. So here you can see the player's knee, player's legs, and player's arms are also being on the mat. So he is having a very good stability. Maximum part is being covered. That's why. And if the player used to sleep, that means lie down or on his chest or her chest, then what happens here, the stability will be too much, it will be much more, there is no chance to fall. Clear? The next example is been given related to the gymnastic. If a gymnast is performing the handstand, then his center of gravity should be between the vertical lines of the hand. Now you can see here the center of the gravity is being maintained here. You can see the back part, it is being maintained, the center of the gravity, so that she may not fall either on sidewise or front or back, and she will be having a good stability and she can able to maintain. So here it has been told that performing handstand, this is his center of the gravity should be between the vertical lines of the hand. Vertical lines, both the hands, vertical line, it should be having the center of the gravity, otherwise he will lose his balance and fall. Otherwise he will lose his balance or she will lose his balance and she is going to fall. So in the picture here you can see here that how the handstand is being performed, the balance is being maintained, the center of the gravity is being vertical to his, you can see the back arch, on this back, on her back arch you may find out here the center of the gravity nearby this area, so that she can be able to maintain the good balance or stability. So a center of gravity is an imaginary point, as we have learned, which is within or outside the body or an object, around which the body or an object is being balanced. So center of the gravity is continuously changing during the movement. These are the things which you need to remind, that when the center of gravity, when the body used to move, the center of gravity also moves. So it also changes according to the movements. It can be either within or outside the body depending upon the shape of the body. It will always shift in the direction of the movement, in which direction you are going to move. You have seen that many of the person, those who used to twist their body, all of a sudden, you have seen in the rugby, in kabaddi also, in that the player requires a quick movement. In a football also, where they all of a sudden they used to move their body, they used to twist their body, they are having an about turn. That means that, so what does it tell us? That it always shift in the direction of the movement. All of a sudden the player used to move, the center of the gravity will also be accordingly going to move according to the movement, according to the direction. So when an individual stands erect with both the hands on the side, the center of gravity is located at the level of the hip, that we have already learned. So this is what the center of gravity is. You can, such types of question can be asked, that write down a short note on center of gravity, and so you can write down the meaning of the center of gravity, you can write down the introduction part, then you write down the meaning, and you give a little bit of explanation, and you can see there are the few sports. You can take an example of these sports and you can write out. Clear? So from my side this much today. Thank you.